Hi everyone. It's officially October now, or at least it will be by the time that you're seeing this, hopefully. And I've been in the fall mood. It's here. It's happening. Usually September hits and I'm like, yes, fall, autumn, let's go. I don't know, I kind of go back and forth between fall and winter being my favorite seasons. I think that's because in California, there's not much of a change between the two. But earlier in September, the month hit, and even though everyone else was getting really excited about fall time, I was trying to elongate summer a little bit because I am in the middle of reading Tess of the Derbervilles by Thomas Hardy, and I started it in the summer, and it felt like a great summer read, and I'm still reading it, and I was just trying to continue with that. I'm very much a mood reader and mood watcher, and that is very much influenced by the seasons. But it's fall time. I want it to be fall, and the season isn't as present in the story, so it kind of doesn't matter that much anymore. In the beginning, it felt very summer. Actually, this is gonna work out well, now that I think about it, because everyone's like, Tess is super depressing, and I got that from the first phase, because the book is sort of split up into different phases. That's what they're called. Yeah, maybe it'll actually work in my favor finishing it towards the end of the year with it being bleak and depressing, and with winter and with fall sort of aligning with that sort of mood. So besides that, I'm the type of person to make stacks of things, make lists of things, whether I stick to them or not, or like follow through with a full idea for the reason behind said list. That's being really vague. But basically, I have all these stacks on my freaking bookshelves, and I want to put these books away now and pull out some books that work for fall and winter, essentially. Things that I would want to pick up within the rest of the year, which sounds crazy that we're in October. I'm not in October. You're in October, though. I don't know when this is going up. Have I said that? It's probably October 2nd. That's what I'm going to guess when this is going to go up. So I thought I would just sort of talk you through these random, these stacks of books that I have. Some of them were like, I had a video idea and then I didn't follow through, or like second guess myself, because I do that a lot. When I'm currently reading other books that I was like, I might pick this up, but it's okay if I don't get to it. I guess that's my motto for every... Oh my god, I do say that a lot. It's okay. I just try not to put that sort of pressure on myself when it comes to the things that I like to do, because I don't ever want it to feel like I'm doing something that I don't like to do, you know? Anyway, I think most of these are actually books that I've like bought recently, but I can get into like, some of them work for fall. Some of them just have other reasons behind why I got them, so I can go into that. And then obviously maybe you can get some fall recommendations, because I'll obviously be pulling out some things that work for October and the rest of the season. Usually October I save like scary and horror things for October, and then for the rest of the year it's just sort of atmospheric stuff. Even into January I continue with atmospheric stuff, even maybe some spooky stuff. I mean, when you think about traditional Christmases, at least in the UK for, you know, previous centuries, ghosts, that's why so many ghosts are now more associated with Halloween, but before, ghosts were like a Christmas thing. That's why, I mean, I'll mention it later, but I'm thinking about rereading The Woman in Black by Susan Hill, right? Her name is being covered, but even though it's kind of not a classic, it's inspired by a lot of classic ghost stories, and I think nowadays is considered a classic ghost story, even though it was written in the 80s. Like, I don't really consider that a classic, but okay. It's set on Christmas, and so is like The Turn of the Screw. They're like telling ghost stories. Freaking A Christmas Carol, a ghost story. So ghost stories work for Christmas. It's just like specifically closer to Christmas. Obviously, I'm doing more Christmassy things, but you can still be like, I still kind of read and consume atmospheric. I don't know, I'm going to overuse the word atmospheric, but I read a lot of atmospheric stories around the time still. Anyway, let's get started. I will start with, actually, you know what? I will mention a couple of things that I do, hopefully. I'm committing to it right now. You're witnessing this. I do have a sort of separate like watch list that I want to hopefully get. I mean, if I don't get to all of them, I still have to see if everything is available, but I have a private watch list right now on my Letterboxd that is autumn/October watch list. I'm thinking about going through that in a video, giving some recommendations, letting you know what I will be watching, and obviously, I mean, if you follow me on Letterboxd, you're going to see what I'm going to be watching anyway, but I would like to do that probably like towards the beginning of October so that if other people don't know about these movies, or if they forgot about them, or it's just not on their radar right now, then they can be like, oh, okay, yeah, I'm going to try to watch that too, or something like that. And then within the next couple of days, I would like to watch a few movies. 3 or 4 I think I have left, that I would like to watch for sort of preparation of another video. I just want to like double check and have these watched before I do this video idea, which I'll just tell you. Basically, I won't go into like the whole explanation or anything like that, but basically I'm going to do a video that is like recommending other mostly classics or not lesser known. See, it's so hard for me to explain without like giving you all these other references and context as to like sort of reasoning as to why I'm doing the video. But giving movie recommendations for people who like A24 horror film, or at least people who are interested in those films. Because I think that's a big difference, which I'm not going to get into now. You can hear it in that video that I haven't recorded yet, but I have some thoughts written down, and I just need to watch a few more of the A24 horror films in order to completely do that video. I already have my recommendations like listed out, but I just want to make sure that I have those films, the A24 horror films, like under my belt, so I know what I'm talking about more so. Okay, anyway. What I'm currently reading, I mean, I already told you about Tess of the Derbervilles. It's by Thomas Hardy. I have read Far from the Madding Crowd by him, and that I liked, but I just feel like I wasn't reading it at the right time. Not only like the right time in my life, but I swear every time I picked it up, I was tired, and I just kept falling asleep. And that's like not the best mindset or mood to be in when you're reading a book and want to be reading a book. Like, you know, it sucks if that's what it's like, especially if you're interested in the actual story, and I was, but that caused me to not really enjoy it as much. Tess of the Derbervilles is definitely different in terms of the experience, because I am really liking it. It's a little slow going, which is partially just my reading pace right now with it, because it's taking me a little longer to... Well, it's definitely taking me longer to read overall, but I haven't been able to like really sit down for a longer period of time and read the book, which is usually how I like to read. If I can't read for at least an hour, I probably will do something else with my time, because I like reading for a longer period of time. And I'm not the only person. I commented on somebody's video about that, and she's like, no, I'm the same way. So I'm not the only one. Thankfully, I feel validated in that feeling, compulsion, I guess. Yeah, and I already mentioned that it's super depressing, or at least it will be definitely even more so depressing than it already is by the ending. And I have a feeling Tess is gonna... I'm gonna start to cry. Oh my god. I have a feeling Tess is gonna die. I have a lot of thoughts about this, though. I can't go through it all, but, also, the movie is gonna make me sob, isn't it? Now I'm thinking about the movie. Because, like, I don't really cry in books all that much, but I cry for movies all the time. It's just, like, once I see somebody else crying, I'm like, I'm done. That's it. I'm crying also. You can see my eyes watering right now. Things are happening. I'll tell you what was the last thing that happened. Well, I have gotten to the part where Tess tells Angel things, okay? If you've read the book, then you know, you know. Then you know, you know. Then you know. I didn't have to say it twice. And Angel just met with his parents alone. So, that's where I'm at. I think that's enough context where if you've read this, then you know where I am. I'm about at least in terms of chapters, there's like 60 chapters, and I'm on chapter 41, so I'm like 2/3 of the way through. It's been a while since I've read it, though. That's the thing, is that I keep thinking, like, if I don't have enough time to read it, then I don't pick it up, which is not helping, because I'm also in the middle of The Lottery and Other Stories by Shirley Jackson, which is a short story collection, and so I'm like, well, I can at least finish a short story if I want to read. And so I've mostly been reading this in time that I don't have a lot to read. Did that sentence make sense? So yeah, I'm almost done with it. I'm probably going to finish it tomorrow night, so that's nice. And then I can focus my time on Tess, although I do think, as much as I don't want to start another book before I finish Tess, I might do that. We'll see. I keep on thinking that I should start reading the book along with listening to the audiobook, just because then if I think about it like that, I can just finish it within an afternoon or a night or whatever. And then I'm also reading My Week with Marilyn by Colin Clark. I just read like the first chapter or two of this. I think the introduction and like the first chapter. I think I realized though that I might be reading this out of order. And what I mean by that is I have a number of Marilyn Monroe related nonfiction books, whether it be about her or sort of, this one is about her, but also just more so pertains to her because it is a memoir by Colin Clark. So it also focuses on him as well as Marilyn. But I've been going through all my nonfiction Marilyn related books before starting Blonde by Joyce Carol Oates, which this is the edition that I have. And I know I've mentioned this before, but Netflix recently did another adaptation, because I think this was also adapted in like the late 90s, early 2000s, and so another adaptation is going to hit Netflix next year, I think. I have to double check. I think it was supposed to be towards the end of this year, but I don't know if that's going to happen anymore. In any case, this was on my list of, like, my reading goals list. There were, I think I have it here, like a stack of papers here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There were 5 books that I for sure wanted to get to. I don't know if that's gonna happen, but we'll see. It's fine. You make your reading goals, well, at least I do, make my reading goals in like January. I don't know what my year is gonna look like. You can change things. It's fine. And then I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more books that I was like, it would be nice to get to these, but I don't want to focus. The other 5 are my main focus in terms of the specific books I want to get to this year. And so Blonde was in that sort of extended list. And then throughout the year, over the summer, I was like, well, I want to read the other books that I have about Marilyn Monroe. So I sort of altered my reading goal to be those other books, which is like 7 other books. I was like, no, instead of this one, I'm going to add 7 more to the list. Or 6. One I didn't end up rereading. I had read it before, but I have 7 nonfiction Marilyn Monroe books. I want to finish, obviously I have My Week with Marilyn, and then another book which I'll grab in a moment before I start Blonde. I just wanted to, brush up on her life and as much as we can gather as facts from her life. Get that information down before I read Blonde. I don't think I've learned anything, actually. It's more so just like information has been submitted. No, I did learn things. It's actually, this is going to be a whole, I'm speaking so quickly. My mouth can't keep up with my train of thoughts. I do have a Marilyn related video that I would like to do, just sort of going over the books, not like really going in depth about, what it was like reading them or the information pertaining to her life, but I did just, I thought of having a sort of like overview of like, these are books that I have about Marilyn Monroe, and she's an important figure to me specifically, like with my sort of venture into classic film and such, which I'll go into in that video. I've sort of like filmed for it, and then it'll just be like me doing a voiceover. I have not done the voiceover, so, that will be coming at some point. I think I will make a couple piles on my bed, which you can't really see, but I'll make a couple piles on my bed. One will be like my immediate TBR, and then the other one will be like, get to these at the end of the, towards this end of the year, the next 3 months or 4 months, whatever. Things that work with autumn. I'll also just mention that the other book that I have left to read is Marilyn in Manhattan, Her Year of Joy by Elizabeth Winder. This one and then My Week with Marilyn are the 2 books that I have remaining in terms of the nonfiction work pertaining to her. I already feel like I've used the word pertaining like way too many times. And then I guess I'll go with this stack that you can't really see, but I will show you. This one arrived just a couple days ago. It is Sweet Bird of Youth and Other Plays by Tennessee Williams. This includes Sweet Bird of Youth, Period of Adjustment, and The Night of the Iguana, which actually all have film adaptations, which is kind of one of the reasons why I got this. Yes, adaptations are always like further incentive to pick up a book or some sort of text. But of course, I wouldn't be reading said material if I wasn't interested in reading said material. I know that sometimes it can seem like I get really caught up on adaptations just because I really think it's interesting to see to read the source material and then see how that is put in a different medium. And that reminds me, I am editing my Adaptation Wishlist series videos. Don't you worry. Actually, I do want to ask a question really quickly. So I made an intro sequence for the series, and it ended up being a minute and 20 seconds or something, or no. Yeah, a minute and 20 seconds. It's far too long. But do you think it's okay if I include the whole minute and 20-second intro sequence thing in all the videos for the series? Because it took a lot of time and I stuck with it. I mean, I at least want to show the whole thing for the intro video that I'll have for the series and for the first video of the series. I don't really mind, I guess, if people it would be nice for everyone to see it at least once. I understand if you just want to skip ahead, but it took a lot of time, and I was committed to finishing it and putting at least part of it in the videos when they go out. But that's really long, isn't it? Should I cut it down for the videos? I mean, I've sort of already just told myself that I'm gonna just include the whole thing and you can skip it if you want to, I guess. But I don't know, what do you guys think about that? Just curious, okay? Anyway, I got Sweet Bird of Youth, the film, earlier this year, which actually this image is from Paul Newman. There we go. I was I can't believe I forgot his name. Paul Newman. And I can't tell who the actress is. Oh, it doesn't tell you. Oh, wait, yeah. Oh, Geraldine Page and Paul Newman in a scene from the Broadway production. Oh, it's from the Broadway production. Interesting. So, but I know Paul Newman is is in the film. So now I'm is Geraldine Page also in the film? And they were both in the Broadway production of the play? Interesting. Okay. Obviously, I'll have to look into it. All three of these plays here, initially what I was saying is that all three of these plays have film adaptations. Sweet Bird of Youth I have from Warner Archive. Period of Adjustment, I think I have recorded. I know it has Jane Fonda in it. I was wait a second, isn't that one of the movies that played during TCM's Summer Under the Stars in August? I love that they do that. August is the month that I record so many movies on TCM because they have a different star of the day every day, as opposed to a star of the month, which is usually what they do for the rest of the year. And then The Night of the Iguana, that's currently on the Criterion Channel, so I might actually end up reading that one first so that I can make sure I watch the movie before it goes off the Criterion Channel. So yeah, these three plays. I'm looking forward to these, especially because I don't know that much about them. I was just yeah, Tennessee Williams, let's go. I'm expecting gay. Yeah, that was me contemplating whether I should say just gay or gayness, but gay, we'll just say gay. Probably something fucked up. And, oh, definitely a woman, an older woman who is struggling with aging. Because that's a thing that he always touches on. Although, I don't know, Sweet Bird of Youth, is there going to be an older character in that? Is there an older... I'm trying to think of Cat on a Hot Tin Roof, which I've seen the movie of, I haven't read the play. I mean, I know there's Big Papa or Big Daddy or something like that, a character by that name. He's older. But I feel it's more about, certain, sexual tension in terms of Maggie. I don't know. I could be remembering incorrectly. Sorry if that's wrong. Then I have, this is going in the immediate pile, TBR pile, and that is Sir Gawain in the Green Knight. I think I've mentioned this a few times. I don't really know. Sometimes I'm did I just think about saying this? Did I actually say it in a video? Or did I say it in a video and then I didn't follow through with putting up that video? Because that happens sometimes. I mentioned numerous times, I know for sure that last year I listened to an audiobook that was basically the course of King Arthur History and Legend, taught by Dorothy Armstrong, who is the professor at Purdue University. She teaches that course, and I got to listen to it through Audible because of the great courses the Great Courses audiobooks that are available. This is specifically the edition that she recommends, which is the translation by Brian Stone. He also writes the introduction here. This is really short. I've just been kind of putting this off because I've been reading other books that mostly I started Tess because I really wanted to start a longer novel that I could like take my time with, that I could really like dive into a longer story, because I feel like I've been reading a lot of shorter works in recent months. That's another reason why I sort of put this one off. But I did feel like I wanted to just sort of take a few days and just focus on this, not really have anything else going on in terms of other reading, in terms of watching other things or other events or, you know, errands or anything that I may have like throughout the day. I just like really wanted to focus on this. Yes, okay, and then I'm probably gonna keep this on the like fall end of year TBR pile. The Remains of the Day by Kazuo Ishiguro. I had Never Let Me Go on my reading goals list, and I've since sort of just changed it to one of the Kazuo Ishiguro books that I have that I haven't read yet, and I feel like this is going to work well for this time of year. And Never Let Me Go just feels like I don't know, it feels like a summer book, kind of, doesn't it? I don't know. But I'm gonna stick with this one to hopefully read within the rest of the year. And then I got this down when I was trying to figure out which longer book I wanted to read, and that's Les Liaisons Dangereuses by Pierre Chaudelot de Laclos. Sorry, I just didn't start it, and I don't think I'm going to in the immediate future, so I'm just gonna put it back up on the shelf, top shelf, where the other Barnes & Noble classics go. I've been thinking about it a lot lately. Obviously, that's why it's like still just down here on my shelf, being like, hey, you should pick me up. Oh gosh, I'm thinking about it again. I'm gonna put it back. It's just not the time. Maybe spring. I don't know. Am I just saying that because it's this nice like lilac color? Probably. I feel like most of the other books that I have are, yeah, things that I've bought recently, except for this mess here. Should I tackle this first? Probably, because I might have a lot to say here. I don't know how long this video is going to be. I just wanted to film something and talk and tackle this mess. It's so messy. I hate it. I really need another shelf. Okay, so here is just this stack of movies and books. This stack of things. I have a video that I did last year that I called like books and adaptations. But I talked about Anna Karenina, I talked about Brideshead Revisited, We Have Always Lived in the Castle, and The Haunting of Hill House, which are all books I read last year. I rewatched Anna Karenina. I didn't read that last year. I wanted to reread it, but because I've already read it, but that I knew that wasn't going to happen with the length of Anna Karenina. Yeah, I was just like watching adaptations of those books that I was reading or that I had already previously read, and I did that video, and those are books I love. Like, except for We Have Always Lived in the Castle, I still really like that book, but the other three books are like favorite books of mine, and I just felt like I was much more passionate about those titles and had a lot more to talk about than these titles here, which is something I tried to do. I like started filming, I kind of ran out of time, and then also I felt like I should have looked over my review of one of these movies before really filming, and so since then I was like, okay, well obviously I have to like start over, but since then I've just been like, but the other books and adaptations video, again, were things that I really like. And these, I don't necessarily really like. So I was just sort of like, maybe I'm not going to do that video, because I was, again, sort of just going with that idea of like, hey, here are some books I've read, and also adaptations of said books that I have recently watched. Here are my thoughts. It was just like a way for me to talk about these 4 books that I read and 4 movies that I watched. But I didn't enjoy any of them at all to the level of those other books. And of course, if you are not new here, then you know that Brideshead Revisited has gone on to be one of like my favorite things, and I can't shut up about it, which actually I'm gonna segue quickly into. I bought more Evelyn Waugh books, as well as 2 more editions of Brideshead Revisited, because apparently I just need to have more than the edition that I have. I'm really trying to go quickly because I don't want this video to be too long, but you know, I really talk a lot. I can't get this out. Okay, I got it. This is the Penguin Modern Classics edition of Brideshead Revisited. This is the one that I read. I do want to still get his books in these editions just to have a matching set, and they're much easier to like annotate. But I ended up finding this copy of Brideshead Revisited, which is so cute. And yeah, it was just like a few dollars, so I was like, I'm gonna get that. And then I also, mainly, I was looking for this specific edition of Brideshead Revisited. It's so, I love this cover. I love the artwork. It works so well, too, for Brideshead Revisited. Like, this is the kind of style that I, like, picture for, I don't know, it's Charles and Sebastian right there. You can see it. Oh, this is definitely Sebastian, and this is definitely Charles. Okay, well, anyway, I actually had to reorder this because I ended up getting the 1981 miniseries, like, movie tie-in edition, which I don't like. Like, I don't even want to be touching this book, to be honest. And I don't really care to have that edition. And I was like, yeah, but this isn't the edition that I ordered. And they gave me a refund. And then I ordered this one. I messaged the person and I was like, is it actually this cover? Because don't you hate it when you're buying something that's like used? Like I bought it off eBay, and I hate it when people use like the image, just like this. I don't know how to describe it, but like the image just that's on the internet of the book, as opposed to like a picture of the book that you're actually selling, or like whatever the product is. It doesn't even have to be a book. It can be a movie. Like, show me a picture of the product. Don't tell me it's in very good condition. I want to make sure it's in very good condition. Anyway, when I was searching for nice copies of Brideshead Revisited that I don't really need, but I very much wanted, I found other very cheap used editions of, well, the same editions, different books, different titles of Evelyn Waugh's novels. What a convoluted sentence. One of them did end up being the wrong edition, but it's in really good condition, so I'm going to keep it for now. That's Vile Bodies. So I also got Decline and Fall. I will look on the back in a moment and tell you who, like, the designer is. There is A Handful of Dust, me trying to read backwards. Nice. And Scoop. I would not have needed to look at that. I could read Scoop backwards. It says, cover design by Rymn, R-Y-M-N. What an interesting name. Rym Masand. Illustration by Bill Brown for Art Department. Okay. These are just on this random shelf. I don't know where to put these yet because these 3 shelves here, which you can't see most of, and this one here, and this one here, this one, and the one above it are my classics section. I don't have any more room, so I don't know where to put these yet. This one kind of smells musty, so I have it over here. I'm going to keep it over there because I'm going to use like the coffee ground trick to get it to not smell bad anymore. Yeah, I just wanted to show you those. So actually talking about, how did I get there? Oh, I was talking about Brideshead Revisited. Of course I was. These books that I tried to talk about, these books and movies that I tried to talk about in a sort of another books and adaptations video that I am not going to do anymore. I'll just talk about them here very briefly. Mostly this is the one that was really, I needed more time to, like, because I already wrote my Letterboxd review for the movie. Then I was like, I need to look over it again, but it's already, like, on Letterboxd, so, I don't know, I just keep thinking over it, so, anyway, yeah, I read The Danish Girl by David Ebershoff. See, I'm already like, oh my god. I'll link my Goodreads review and my Letterboxd review in the description for both of these. Ultimately, so this is, oh my god, all the names. See, this is the kind of thing, you have to, like, look over it so that you are saying the correct information. But this is about Lily, who is one of history's, like, first trans people. And this story, this is a historical fiction novel, by the way. It's fictional. It's based on real people, Lily and who she was married to around the time of her transitioning. Gerda, whose name is Greta here, yeah, whose name is Greta in this. I don't know why that is a thing that has changed, but it's from the perspective of both Gerda and Lily, except it uses Lily's like birth name, you know, before she transitioned, with which some people have a problem with. I understood it to an extent, but then also I just have so many questions about like why was this even written? Like, I would have just preferred reading like a nonfiction book about Lily. And then there were other things that I just felt like were really wrong in terms of like that's not what it means for trans people. Sort of, he really portrayed Lily as like another person in their body, and that's just not right. And then like once she undergoes this transition and gets like things cut off, you know, in terms of the first surgery, she's like, oh my god, where did he go? That's no, there are not two people in the body. There's one person in the body. And then also they just like, they, as in David, the author, just describes Lily pre-transition, like this, you know, male body as being like frail and feminine and like petite and just like other words that are more on the feminine side. And it's like, that's also not how this works. Like, just because she identifies as the opposite gender of what her body's sex is, gosh, did that come out right? Just because she feels like she's in the wrong body doesn't mean that that body is going to reflect more so the gender that they identify with, you know what I mean? And, well, okay, so that's the book. I gave it like 2 stars, because, like, read my Goodreads review, okay? I can't spend forever on this, which is, like, kind of, I can't spend forever on it, okay? And then, the film, I love Alicia Vikander. I don't know if you know this, but she's one of my favorite actresses, Alicia Vikander. She plays Gerda. She's great in this. I have conflicting feelings on the film, because I think it's beautiful. Oh my god, I really like the cinematography. I love the costuming. I love the, like, somebody had to paint those paintings. They're both artists, by the way, Gerda and Lily. Well, okay, Lily more so like pre-transition. Again, it was like, I mean, I don't know. The thing is, I don't know that much about Lily as a person, as a historical figure, you know? So, yeah, maybe she really got out of painting after her transition, but it also was just something that was like, I'm a different person now, and it's like, you didn't just, like, lose your painting ability because you're now the gender that you identify with. Now that you're the sex that you identify with. Jesus. So that was kind of weird. But they're both artists, and so sort of replicas of their paintings had to be done for the film, and especially pertaining to, like, Gerda starts to paint Lily even before she transitions. Well, yeah, before she like transitions, and this is sort of the catalyst of like what makes her start to question like her identity and her gender identity. So of course her work in the film had to look like Eddie Redmayne playing Lily, and I just think that sort of detail can sometimes be overlooked. Someone had to paint those to replicate Gerda, the real artist's like style. I don't know. I think that I appreciate those sort of like artistic aesthetic details, and that work that goes into that kind of thing, especially because, like, you know, that the painting doesn't really have much to do with like the things that people view as like problematic with this film, which I was very much trying to understand, which is also the other thing that just makes it really hard to talk about, because I did like the film. Granted, I also was going into it with the perspective of like, I just read this book and gave it 2 out of 5 stars and had mixed feelings on it and like ultimately didn't really like it. And now I'm gonna watch the film adaptation of said fictionalized book of 2 like historical people. Well, like, you know, they're the main focus. Also, I mean, that's amazing that I'm like, I actually like the film considering it's directed by Tom Hooper. I don't need to explain Tom Hooper, right? Okay, so anyway, I do have a lot more thoughts and stuff that I'm having a hard time saying here, obviously. Now I can put these back, though. Again, for further thoughts, better, cohesive thoughts, Letterboxd and Goodreads reviews will be in the description. Also, Alicia Vikander. I don't know if I mentioned that yet, but she's great, and she won the Academy Award for Best Supporting Actress in this, which I think she very much deserved, which is also sort of another thing that's like, there's a lot of, like, Gerda in this, trying to understand what's happening, which, again, I get, but if you're gonna try to tell a story about Lily, then tell a story about Lily. Anyway, I got this used, by the way. I've been making a lot of, like, used purchases in terms of books and movies, mostly on eBay. And it came with a slipcover, which is great. I love slipcovers. And the supplements the special features did not help me at all with trying to understand more so the sort of intent and ideas behind the film itself. As an adaptation, as, telling a story of real people, I can't say anything. I am a cis person, so, I can say anything. I can still say my opinion, but at the same time, I'm not trans, and this is ultimately supposed to be a trans story. I do appreciate what, at the time, especially, it's very different watching this in 2021 compared to 2016 when this was made? 2015, 2016, something like that. It does seem like everyone was trying, at least the actors in their interviews, it seemed like they were really trying to do the right thing and have the right story. But this is something that is, I've seen at least, not very well liked and discussed problematically a lot in the trans community. Well, movies are in my other room, so this is just going on the bed for now. Then we have, let's see, The Earrings of Madame de. The novella here is by Louise de Vilmorin, who is in, oh my gosh, she's great. She's in an interview, where is it? Interview with writer Louise de Vilmorin about Ophuls' adaptation of her novel. Which she just rips apart. She's like, this is not an adaptation of my novel. This is not the novel. It's a novella. But this is not the story I wrote. And she's right on that. I agree with her. And she also is so fun. Like, I need more of her in my life. I don't know. She just seemed like a really entertaining, fun lady. See, again, I don't, really want to talk about these all too much. But I did really like the movie. It's definitely different than the book. This has a more, sorry, I'm going back and forth between the two, but this is definitely more romantic. In a sense, it seems like a love story, and this is more so like a tragedy. Though you can see tragedy, being foreshadowed here, romance is not a part of this novella, and that is not the perspective that the film takes. I really like Max Ophuls' his style and just the way that he was. I don't know, I really like the opulence in this film. I think that's the thing. Which is because of the character of Madame de. It makes sense, but it makes me excited to watch more of his work. Specifically Lola Montez. That's the one that I would really like to watch, just because it seems like it's going to be really extravagant and still very heartfelt and sort of touching with the characters. There's this one still of, I'm assuming, Lola Montez, where it just, I don't know, it looks kind of heartbreaking, to be honest. Or a partially heartbreaking, partially just a very significant moment for the film. I have no idea what that one is about, but I do know that it is another film that Max Ophuls directed and is on the Criterion Collection. So, this is a great release, by the way. I recommend both. Also, I didn't need to buy the book because the novella is in the booklet. You don't need to buy it, it's in the booklet. Yeah, I don't even know what else to say. I may have written things, for anything that I'm mentioning here, if I have a Goodreads or Letterboxd review for anything, I will leave it in the description. Okay, movie goes in the other room. This goes up here. Okay, let's just talk about this one. This one I have a Letterboxd review, right? I definitely have a Goodreads review, and I'm pretty sure a Letterboxd review for this. The Woman in the Window by A.J. Finn, who is getting his own story told in an Amazon series, an Amazon film. I don't remember, but I think Jake Gyllenhaal's gonna play him. Apparently, I don't know. I think it shouldn't be a thing, but it's interesting, I guess. He's a liar. He's kind of a sociopath. Yeah, I'll leave that article in the description. But a lot came out about AJ Finn after the sort of success of The Woman in the Window. So the book, at least. Where to start here? A thriller, very much inspired by Hitchcock, specifically Rear Window, and other sort of like mostly film noir. Sort of. That's the basis is clearly Rear Window. You cannot go into this book or the movie without just being like, well, this is like Rear Window. Like, obviously, that's kind of part of the point of it, I'm assuming. I just didn't find it all that exciting. It was fine. It was kind of predictable, but even more so, I just felt like it was so underwritten in a way, because it didn't really seem like it was inspired by film noir or Hitchcock, suspense thrillers. Like that, no. Just because in the novel, it seemed like a lot of name dropping. It was so annoying. Oh my God. It just seemed like AJ Finn was like, yeah, I don't know if you've ever heard of this, but I've seen Casablanca. And I'm like, of course, everyone has seen, great. And then there's like, oh gosh, I'm never going to be able to find it. But then there was like one part where they're like, she's looking at her movie shelves. I didn't even really explain the premise, but just by saying it's like similar to Rear Window is probably enough. There's one moment where she's like showing the neighbor boy her like movie collection, and it mentions like Criterion and like a couple other labels, and then just a bunch, like within the first like 60 pages, there are like 40 movies that are just listed, and nothing else. The titles are it's just named. They're just named, and that's it. And it's like, okay, great, you've seen movies. Like, this dude just really needs some film buff friends. Honestly. I explained it a lot better in my Goodreads review, but I was just so sick of it because it just seemed like he was just trying to be like, I don't know if you've heard of this one, but like, proceeds to list like literally some of the most popular films of the 1940s. Just absolutely ridiculous and annoying because it wasn't adding anything to the story, and it also wasn't really giving me information about the main character, like just by listing movies that she has or that she's seen a billion times. Like, okay, she likes movies, I get it, she likes these older classics. Wow, I'm talking a lot, I'm like getting dizzy. Oh my God, am I just like really warm? What's happening right now? Okay, I have to pause. Am I getting like really worked up over this? I don't know what's happening right now. I feel like my head is sweating. Hello. I'm on the floor now. I am really sweating all of a sudden, and I feel like I'm gonna have to stop recording soon anyway. I'm gonna put this video up just the way it is. I will tomorrow night start to finish talking about The Woman in the Window. I'll still leave my review on Goodreads and Letterboxd, like I've said a billion times already. I'll leave those in the description. Yeah, there's gonna be a part 2 to this, which is fine because I'm literally just talking about random ass things. But I'm sweating now, and I just feel like I need to lay down, so I'm gonna stop recording. I'm probably fine. Yeah, okay, well, at least I know where I'm gonna start tomorrow. Sorry about this, but also probably not sorry, because then the video is not extremely long because I've already been filming for 54 minutes. Cool. This angle actually doesn't look bad. Why does... Sorry, I'm like feeling this here. Yes. Okay. Anyway, thank you for watching. Sorry this is abrupt. Sorry you also just saw like all those pillows back there. Pillows and blankets. And here's a glimpse of my shelves, I guess. Cool. Is that all I needed to say? I think so. Thanks for sticking around. I hope everyone's doing well, and I will be working on other videos. I know I say that all the time, but I mean, I did explain. I'm talking right now, and I'm actually feeling better.